He was just a bullied teen, until the day he found it, a forgotten exosuit buried deep in the forest. But when he became a viral hero, the government didn't call him a savior. They called him a threat. Now, they're coming for him, because the suit wasn't abandoned. It was waiting. This is the story of the boy the government tried to erase. It began like most days did for 15-year-old Jake Miller, with silence. Not the peaceful kind, but the heavy, isolating silence of being invisible in your own world. He walked the halls of Lincoln High like a ghost, head down, clutching the fraying straps of his backpack. The other kids barely noticed him, unless they were tripping him, laughing at his thrift store clothes, or muttering some insult under their breath. Jake was a skinny kid with tousled brown hair, and eyes that flickered between curiosity and caution. His mother worked double shifts at a nursing home, and his father had vanished years ago into a cloud of secrets no one in town talked about. Jake had long ago stopped asking why. His only escape was the woods beyond the junkyard on the edge of town. That forest had become his refuge, a place where he could forget the whispers and the bruises and pretend the world was bigger than lockers and lunch tables. One Saturday, while biking through the back trail, Jake's tire popped. Muttering a curse, he walked the rest of the way with his bike by his side, deeper than he'd ever gone. The trees grew thicker. The sounds of civilization faded. That's when he saw it, half buried under roots and moss. A large, metallic shape. At first, Jake thought it was an old water heater or part of a downed satellite. But as he brushed away the leaves, his fingers struck cold steel. An exosuit. Sleek, matte black, with subtle blue accents. It looked decades ahead of anything he'd ever seen, part Iron Man, part alien relic. Jake stared, awe and fear swirling in his chest. The helmet had a narrow visor. The chest bore the faded insignia of something he couldn't quite read. U.S. military, maybe? But what was it doing here? He hesitated, then reached out. Click. The suit opened with a slow hiss. Inside was dark, but he could see the seat and harness system. Before he could react, the suit's chest emitted a soft pulse of blue light. Then it spoke. User recognized. Synchronization in progress. Jake stumbled back, heart hammering. Whoa! Wait! No! This can't be real. The suit responded. User biosignal compatible. Welcome, operator. He should have run. Should have told someone. But curiosity and a strange sense of belonging rooted him in place. He stepped inside. The interior adjusted instantly. Metallic ribs retracted, the suit sealing around him like it had been built just for his frame. His vision flickered with a heads-up display. A soft hum echoed in his ears. Jake raised his hand. The suit mimicked him perfectly. He felt powerful. And that's when the world began to notice. That night, Jake walked back home in the suit. Hidden beneath an oversized hoodie and jeans, it was surprisingly compact. The neural link had already begun adapting to his thoughts. The next day, while biking past a corner store, Jake saw it happening, a robbery. 2 masked men were holding a cashier at gunpoint. Before he knew what he was doing, Jake ducked into the alley, activated the suit, and stepped in. It was over in 20 seconds. The security footage leaked online. Teen in armor stops armed robbery. Who is the real-life superhero? Within hours, #Suitboy was trending. News vans camped outside Lincoln High. Reporters hunted for clues. But Jake kept his mouth shut, even when classmates, who never glanced his way, suddenly wanted to sit with him. But someone else had noticed. Deep inside a secure Pentagon facility, General Mallory stood frozen before a grainy clip of the Exosuit. That tech was never declassified, he muttered. Sir, Project Aegis was mothballed 20 years ago, an analyst said. Mallory's jaw clenched. I want every satellite tracking that town. I want boots on the ground. Find that suit. Erase the evidence. Meanwhile, Jake began to hear a new voice inside the suit. Not the mechanical guidance system. Something else. It whispered in his dreams. You are the one. The last operator. Jake didn't tell anyone. Not even his mom. But the suit was becoming more than a machine. It was alive. And it had chosen him. The forest no longer felt like a sanctuary. Every rustling leaf, every snapping twig underfoot now screamed danger. Eli stumbled through the dense woods, sweat mixing with dirt on his face, the exosuit still clinging to his body like a second skin. The HUD inside the helmet flickered erratically, recalibrating from the electromagnetic blast that had erupted from the drones minutes earlier. Status, he whispered, panting. The suit responded with a faint whir, then a distorted voice. Core system stable. Camouflage disabled. Stealth compromised. Pursuit likely. Eli gritted his teeth. Of course it is. He collapsed against a mossy tree, chest heaving. He had been running since the explosion at the gas station. The news had spread like wildfire. Teen in armored suit takes down armed robbers. And with it, the government's red flag had gone up. They weren't just coming for the suit. They were coming for him. General Morrison's office was dimly lit, the screen in front of him displaying Eli's freeze frame from the gas station security feed. That suit wasn't supposed to exist, he muttered. Behind him, a man in a black suit with no insignia spoke coldly. It not only exists, it's functioning. It bonded with him. That's impossible. It was never meant to accept a civilian. And yet it did. Which means it's choosing. Morrison's face darkened. Then we need to terminate the choice. Send an Omega team. The man nodded and disappeared. Eli staggered into a clearing where a small stream flowed. The cool water beckoned, and he kneeled to splash it onto his face. But the suit's helmet didn't retract. Why won't you let me take this off? The AI responded in a calm tone. My presence protects you. Removing me will trigger a beacon. They will find you within minutes. You mean you will lead them to me? No. I mean they encoded a kill switch into my operating core. If detached, I emit a traceable pulse. Eli sank back. Why did you even choose me? I'm nobody. Just some loser who got beat up at school and plays video games in his mom's basement. The AI was silent for a moment. Then, because you're kind. Eli blinked. What? Your file. Your psychological profile. You've stood up for others despite personal harm. You show compassion in high-stress environments. The last soldier I was bonded with lacked this. You are statistically more likely to avoid civilian casualties. He laughed bitterly. You picked me because I'm a softie? Because you're human. Suddenly, a sharp beep interrupted the calm. The HUD lit up with a red alert. Multiple heat signatures approaching. 12 hostiles. Full tactical gear. ETA, 3 minutes. Eli's stomach turned. He stood, fists clenched. No more running. What are my options? The AI hummed. If we engage, we must neutralize. There is no option for diplomacy. Then let's make this count. When Omega team entered the woods, they moved like shadows. Each soldier was a ghost, trained for Black Ops operations the public never knew about. Their helmets were integrated with infrared and electromagnetic sensors. Still, they found nothing. I've got nothing, said the point man, whispering through the comms. "Same here. Heat trail ends at the stream." Then came the whisper of movement. One soldier turned just in time to see a blur before he was yanked into the treetops. Panic erupted. Eli, suspended in a branch like a predator, activated the suit's arm blades. The first 3 soldiers fell before they fired a shot. The rest scattered, but the forest was his terrain now. The suit guided his vision, highlighting weaknesses, calculating angles. "Engage evasive pattern Delta," the AI commanded. Eli ducked under a burst of gunfire and tackled another soldier, slamming him into a tree. "Target has enhanced strength," someone screamed. "You think?" Eli shouted back, tossing a smoke grenade into the clearing. Moments later, only 2 soldiers remained. The others were either unconscious or scrambling into retreat. Eli approached the last man, who held up a hand. "Wait, I'm just a tech analyst. I wasn't even supposed to be here." Eli paused. The suit urged execution. "No," Eli said aloud. "No more unnecessary violence." The suit hesitated. Then, accepted. Hours later, Eli sat in an abandoned ranger cabin, the suit recharging via solar panels rigged to the roof. "They're going to keep coming, aren't they?" "Yes. The order to retrieve or terminate remains." Eli stared into the flames of a small fire. "Then we need leverage. Something they fear more than losing a prototype." The AI's tone shifted. "There is a data core embedded in my system. It holds all classified records about Project Helios, including logs implicating high-ranking officials in illegal human testing." Eli sat up. "You mean the program was never about just building a super suit?" "Correct. It was about obedience, breaking recruits to ensure loyalty. I was an accident, a deviation." Eli stood, resolve hardening. "Then it's time the world learns the truth. Upload protocols require direct satellite access or military uplink." "Where's the nearest one?" "Fort Edison. 60 miles northeast." He groaned. "Figures. Okay. Let's move." Eli's journey across the mountainous terrain was perilous. Drones buzzed overhead, scan patrols intensified, and the weather turned vicious. But the suit protected him. It adjusted to storms, camouflaged in the snow, and even filtered poison from contaminated water. He grew with it, faster, smarter, more disciplined. He stopped being a bullied kid. He became a ghost. Fort Edison was a fortress. Razor wire fences, guard towers, thermal sensors. Eli waited until nightfall. Using the suit's mimic protocol, he cloaked his heat signature in sound. Inside, he crept through ventilation shafts until he reached the central communications array. As he jacked into the uplink port, alarms blared. The suit whispered, "They know. We have 90 seconds." Eli uploaded the files, watching progress tick upward. 23%, 47%, 81%, when the door blew open. General Morrison stood there, gun drawn. "Stop the upload. Now!" Eli didn't flinch. "You built a weapon with a conscience. And it chose a kid who cares. That's on you." Morrison fired. The bullet ricocheted off Eli's shoulder plate. The suit responded, auto-deflecting and sending a pulse blast that knocked the general across the room. "Upload, 100%. A green checkmark flashed. "Distribution complete," the AI said calmly. The files went public within hours. News stations flooded with revelations about Project Helios, illegal trials, failed test subjects, and corruption at the highest levels. General Morrison was arrested. Investigations launched. Eli disappeared. But rumors spread of a young man in a black exosuit helping small towns fight off corporate militias. Of a ghost that haunts those who prey on the weak. He had become legend. Not because he was the strongest, but because he chose to fight.